And hello. Can you see me and hear me? Let's see here. Um, yeah. Hold on. I'll do like this. I have a curtain here. That should help a little bit. It's like when you do something like this in a video, you can almost hear people clicking themselves out of the video or the live stream. But that's okay. That's okay. Good morning, everyone. Well, it is morning here. Joe says it's evening, and good evening to you, Joe. Um, Lots of good people here. Well, all of you are good people, and it's good to have you here. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, and Ollie from Scotland, um, and from Joe from Oregon in the USA, and Cheryl from Arizona, and Kati from Germany, and Eric from East Tennessee. So it's an we are international today as usual, which is great. And Phil from New Zealand, South Island of New Zealand. Robert from Canada, and okay, I'll stop now. I'll have to stop now and get on with it. Imagine you wake up on one morning and you really want an apple. Yeah, you really want an apple for breakfast. I know that might not be what we eat for breakfast normally, but let's say you just want an apple, okay? And you live in a village, a small village, and there's a town square and a market for fruit and vegetables, right? And you go to the market and you want to buy an apple because you really want an apple. And the problem is that the people selling apples, all the apples are rotten or half rotten and very expensive. So you go to the merchants, vegetable sellers, the vegetable um, farmers there, and you say, "Well, I want an apple," and they say, "Well, yeah, we have apples here. They're a little bit rotten, but that's just how it is now, and it's much more expensive than yesterday and the day before." At some point, you will not buy that apple, right? Because it's the quality is too low and it's too expensive. Now, of course, you understand where I'm going with this, I guess. This is the feeling I get on a daily basis now. And I'm asking myself, what's in it for me? And I'm going to warn you all because some people criticize me. Oh, they're saying, oh, you're so negative. And oh, why can't you be more positive? Well, you know, obviously, people who say that they don't watch all my videos, but we must call out what's happening now. And the big question here, at least for me, and I guess for many other people as well, is what's in it for me? And why would I continue going along with this? Now, most people go along with whatever because they are not aware of any alternative. So let me just get things straight here, okay? Now I have complained about the high taxes in Norway, and I can tell you now. I won't tell you how much I paid in taxes for last year, but it would make you physically sick. It did make me physically sick for a few moments when I got the number. And it is Jefferson says it's a selfish question. Ah, okay. Well, you'll have to be respectful here, or we will just get rid of you from the live stream. That's how it works. And I'll say it again, what's in it for me? And if we all ask ourselves, what's in it for me? I think at this point, many people will arrive at the conclusion that there is not much in this for me. Why would I bother? So, I work a lot, okay? Lots of people work a lot because they have to. The taxes are being raised, the prices are being raised. It's difficult now to save up money and invest wisely because it's just more difficult now. And it seems like every possibility, everywhere you look, our governments are trying to get more of your money. They're trying to get more of what you earn, more of what you save, or rather, it looks like they don't want you to save money. They don't want you to have ownership of a house, a car, especially not a petrol car, and so on and so on. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Looks like we're heading for the fourth industrial revolution. And those people who think that is a conspiracy theory, you can leave you can just leave now because this is not for you. You can go back to watching TV and all that. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm just observing that we are being given the deal that we're being presented to, and the deal is worse, and it's getting worse by the day. Okay. And I ask myself, what's in it for me? What's in this for me? Why would I sit here, work myself to death, pay taxes? And most people, they don't understand what it's like to pay that much in taxes. Now, why would I bother? I do not like the place, how this place where I live, how it has become. I do not like this society, and I do not like the direction it's moving. Everywhere I look, the agenda, or rather the narrative, is something I disagree with. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but people need to start to understand that not everyone will go along with what's here, what's coming, and what's being expected of us. Why would I bother? Why would I not leave? Why would I not leave all this? Well, I can, because how should I? It's amazing to me that I can't explain this in an easy, in a way that everyone understands. Um, okay, I can sell everything I have, take what's left after I've paid taxes and fees and all that, and move somewhere out in the wilderness. Yeah, it's not illegal yet to do that. Why would I not do that? And also, it's been a long time now where I don't take any, because of the high taxes, I don't care about working more. If people ask me now, will you come and do a lecture here? Well, if I think it's a good cause and all that, I'll do it for free. But I won't spend time doing that because it's just not worth it. When after the taxes, it's just not worth it. My time is worth more than that. So just to put things into, or just to give you a heads up here, I woke up to the news that 3 of the oil rigs in the North Sea has been closed now. They are not running because of a strike. Now, I don't know how much you know about the North Sea oil and gas and all that, but it's like when they close down 3 of those, it's major, because they are gigantic. Um, is it going to affect the oil prices? Probably, but we need to understand that it's not the oil price that is driving the price of petrol or gas, as the Americans say, because the price of oil has actually gone down, but the price of petrol has stayed high. So that's when they're saying that that's a lie, you know. We have a strike also in what's it called? The airline, not the airline industry, but the people operating, well, the people working on the airplanes and in the towers, in the airports and all that. So SAS, Scandinavian Airlines, now they have it looks like a long-term strike, and 160 airplanes are standing still. 160 airplanes in that company alone. And I don't know how many other companies are affected by strikes, but I don't have the numbers. But I think Norway is, that company is, it's not the only company with a where there are strikes. So it is tempting to think that there is something behind all this, you know. Would it be completely crazy to say that, well, there might be some kind of plan behind this? I'm just asking the question, you know, because when you go to that town square and you want to buy an apple, and all the merchants are offering rotten apples, and they are much more expensive than they used to be, then surely you must understand that they have been talking about this beforehand. Well, let's just give them lower quality. We don't care about the quality that we're offering them, but as long as we can coordinate this, then they don't have a choice, do they? You know? So again, I'm asking this question that one guy here oh, okay. It's the Jesus thing here. Okay. Goodbye. Yeah, it's kind of makes sense. Yeah, I'm asking the. Hold on. Wolf of Odin, I made you a moderator here on this channel. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to add more moderators because it is needed. Yeah, so I'm asking that question. What's in it for me? We should all ask that question. It is a healthy question to ask. What's in it for me? It's not selfish. It's foolish not to ask that question. Because if the answer is not very much, then you probably should look at alternatives. And it. I've used the following words previously, not in a live stream, not here, but in private. I've said, why would I sit here in a pile of snow paying a crazy amount of taxes while I'm working myself to an early death? Why would I do that? Because it seems like that's what's expected of us here in Norway now and in the future. And I don't expect any sympathy, rather the opposite when I talk about taxes. But if you were in my position, and some of you might be in that position, I don't know, but if you were, you would think exactly the same. And it's funny how that works. Nobody cares about taxes until they start paying 50% taxes, okay? It means something that people are leaving countries. It means something that people are taking all their money out of the stock market, which I'm going to do very soon. Um, it 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 means something, and this is it. I really think this is it. Well, we, humanity will recover and so on, but it is a shift, you know, and you need to make that choice. You need to ask yourself, what's in it for me? Are there alternatives? Are there alternatives? Now, I'll tell you what I want to do. Now, I have a deadline on my new novel, and it's so I'll be working pretty much every day for the next month, and then a couple of weeks after that. Um, but after that, um, I'm going into part-time retirement, meaning that I will not work as much. I will write, of course. I will continue writing because I love writing. I will continue making videos, but I need to do more of the stuff I really want to do, because I just work too much. But that's a sidetrack here. Verona, well, yes, but do you think it's fair? Do you think, even though, do you think it's fair? No? But anyway, so so I wasn't going to make this, taxes a topic of this. They are talking now, but I forgot to mention one thing. It's why am I now? I'm not your financial advisor, so please look into this yourself. But our fine government, it's a socialist government we have now, sadly, and they are talking about increasing the taxes on the money you take out of your company. So it's about 1/3 now. That if you take 1 million out, you'll have to pay 350,000 or something like that in taxes. So we're left with 650,000. And yes, Trupa there, also inflation. Okay, so at this point, I believe for me, the time has come where I'm going to buy the stuff I want to have, it's just it it's the time is here. The time has come for that, you know. Um, and it ties into that, the answer to that question, what's in it for me? And the answer is not much. Not much. I'll tell you what I want. I want to disconnect from this modern society, um, and live even closer to nature. Um, that's what I want. And that's many people would call that a frugal lifestyle, um, and that's what I like, you know. But anyway, um, my my question here to you guys is, what's in it for you? What's in it for you? Yeah, okay. Warm waffle. Yeah, here's this. Let me just. Okay, so the narrative here is that there is nothing called private property. You can't own anything because you pay taxes on it, and if you don't pay taxes, then the government will take that away from you. Okay, it's not correct. Um, Following that logic, you don't own yourself. You don't own your life. You don't own your hand, your arm, your anything, because it can be taken away from you. And also, there are not taxes on private property in all of Norway. You can move to places like Norway is. Now I'm Norwegian, and I guess it's the same in some other countries, but some parts of Norway, some counties in Norway, you can move there, and there is no tax on private property. So you can buy a house or a piece of land, and it's not taxed. Um, and the same is actually with your wealth. You can move there. It's typically done to attract rich people to these counties. And all the socialists are criticizing this and hating on people who move there. But what I'm trying to say here is it's not true. That narrative doesn't hold any logic. That just doesn't. And besides, you can move to places where there are no taxes on private property at all. Now, the only reason why I have not done that is that my kids are at school here, and I don't want to take them out of school. So try not pay warm waffle not paying property tax, as I just said. um, it's yeah, as I just said, doesn't that's not true. So yeah, warm waffle doesn't help if you start writing in Norwegian. So okay. Now, it always ruffles some feathers when I talk about taxes, because some people think it's fair that some people pay a lot of taxes. North Shore Preparedness made you a moderator. I thought you were, but something must have happened because you were not. Now you are a moderator again, and okay. So I'll look here at the chat. I will not comment on anything about taxes because I've said enough about that. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'll have to say one more thing. People are not aware of how much they pay in taxes. When I say 50%, it's actually a lot more than that, because whenever you buy something, you have to add the VAT on that. Since here I'm starting talking Norwegian, so so you understand that on money you spend, there is an additional tax, and on money you save, there is a tax on your earnings on what you save. Okay, so okay, let me scroll up a little bit. Colleen, yeah, there are different laws concerning this in different parts of the world, but I think we need to realize that someone's going to have to pay for what's coming. When you look at, well, yeah, we will be paying in many different ways. They will raise the taxes. That's one thing, but they will encounter a problem because more and more people will be laid off. They will not be needed in the work uh, as workers, as employees. And are you going to tax people who are on welfare? Well, they do, but it doesn't make sense. So at some point, they're going to understand, or they do understand, of course, but they're going to have to find other solutions. Right now, what they're doing is that they are increasing the taxes more and more, to pay for things like, especially uh, the green. Uh, they call it the grønne skiftet in Norwegian. um, the green thing, all that. You know what I'm talking about here. It doesn't add up. It won't add up, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you'll have to excuse me because it's I've been working for a few hours already, um, and kind of tired. So, what I was going to say here, my main point is actually, what I like. I would go. I just want to go sailing or canoeing. Wake up in a different place uh, every morning. Make some breakfast over the campfire, for instance, and then move on. That's my definition of a good life. And it's not expensive to live that way. It is quite cheap and much better. And there is also something that I would like to mention about this modern society, and it's increasing. It's increasing. I'm probably going to make a video on the main channel about that. It's noise. Noise. There's a lot of noise, and people are getting noisier and noisier. People, by that I mean people who are part of, who are completely 100% dependent on the grid. And when I say the grid, it's not only the power grid, and I'm talking about information and everything. So, you know, there is it's not like we have to be part of the grid. people around the world are living outside of the grid. It's totally possible. It can be done. And I know, myself, I'm going, that's where I'm moving, that's where I'm moving. And yeah, I won't get into details on my plans. As I said, I'm not going to stop writing, not going to stop making videos, but just sitting here with all the nonsense on, in the news, all the lies being, you know, presented to us every day and all that. It's just not. It's again, what's in it for me? Nothing, nothing. You know. So, that this is just my personal take on this. You might think differently about this. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying that some people, some of us, we will ask that question, what's in it for me? And the answer will be nothing. And when you realize that, you will start making plans and you will eventually get out of the system. Okay. So I'm going to take a look at the chat now. And if you really want me to respond to your comment, you can give me a super chat. That's possible. It will cost you some money. That's just how it works. Okay, so let me scroll up. North Shore Preparedness says taxes on top of taxes on top of taxes. Yes, exactly right. Evola's Sunglasses says Google how many dollars printed in the last 3 years. This is inflationary. Exactly. Two things about that. I think Google should never be used as a search engine. It goes without saying, but most people use Google, but please don't. It's not a good search engine. It's not objective. And secondly, what is money? Or rather, what is wealth? At this point, I believe that money is not a good way to store wealth. But that's, again, I'm not your financial advisor, but real things that you enjoy, that you need, that's how I'm going to store my wealth from now on. So, okay. Martin says taxes are designed to keep us poor. Exactly. If you do understand taxes, which I think you, Martin, that seems like you do, um, they are. They are. Okay. And good point from full name here says inflation is also a tax. Yeah, when you understand how inflation works, you could say it's actually a tax, because they are taking away from your wealth when they print money. um, so, yeah. DV says here in Chile we have a new far left government and it has recently presented a tax reform that seeks to raise our taxes and destroy the middle class and property. Good point. And many other commentators here on social media has said that they have said that the middle class is not wanted anymore. How do we get rid of the middle class? We tax them into oblivion. Now, I promised I wasn't going to talk that much about taxes, but I did. That's just how it is. Robert, thank you for the donation. I will read your comment. Robert says, I get your concerns. We are headed towards eventual triumph. Nobody knows when the triumph will come and what else we have to endure before it arrives. Sorry, I can't say why I know this. I just do, and I want to assure. Well, thank you for that message. And DV, thank you for. Oh, that's CLP. That's Chilean money then. And thank you for that. Here in Chile. Oh, yes, that's your comment there about your far left government raising your taxes. Let's see here. Yeah, well, let's see. I'll have to just go down again and let's see. So, and then I'll go up. Oh, sorry. Bobby says, I see a sword behind you at your left side. Yes. Yeah, I have some swords here. I was a fool when I bought my swords. I bought 4, and I bought 2 pairs, and 1 sharp and 1 blunt. And I was a fool because I the blunt and the sharp, they are exactly the same. They look the same, so we have to. It's for practice, You don't want to bring a sharp sword, and it's like yeah, that was foolish because it's easy to take the wrong sword, because they look the same. Yes, North Shore Preparedness says keep the comments clean, please. Yes, please do. Okay. So, and if we leave the topic of taxes for a little while, I mean, what worries me is that I'm seeing an almost nihilistic attitude among a lot of people. They don't believe in ownership, and then there you have this argument. Well, can they tax it? Are they taxing it? Well, it's not yours then, which is a rubbish argument. And from there on, well, into that ties also this attitude where no, I'm not going to start a family, not going to try hard to have a career. And when I say career, please understand what I mean here. I'm not saying that, the traditional way, going into a big corporations and working yourself up through the, to CEO and so on and so on. Well, you can, of course, and some people enjoy that. Many people don't. But with a career, I'm talking about, for instance, starting your own business. Maybe you're a blacksmith, and you want to to build up a reputation for your craft and so on. That's a career, you know. So maybe you're a farmer, maybe you're a homesteader. I define that as a career, actually, because the goal with a career is to create safety and wealth for yourself and your family. And I can think of no better way to do that than to create an environment where you are self-sustained, as self-sustained with food and so on as possible, and as independent as possible. To me, that's if you can manage to do that, you have a successful career. That's how I see it. Um, let's see here. Okay. Again, you know, Noel says if it's on Earth, you don't own it. I disagree. I own the swords. Those are my swords. You can try to take them away from me and see what happens. Um, so that would be a demonstration of ownership, right? Um, let's see here. Yeah, well, Simon's Diamond Soul says, why did the media have stop talking about waves, the big V, the 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 big medicine, and the big C, the big plague? Is it part of something bigger? Well, actually, it's coming back. A couple of days ago, uh, in Norway, they sent out a. They're saying that we recommend a fourth shot for old people, but that's how it starts, right? And it's if you look at the curve, it's going up, 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 up. I don't want to mention those words because to be honest with you, I really want to add money for this live stream. We all need to make money, you know. Um, and um, I know that's a funny thing, right? Some people will hate you for making money on YouTube and social media. That's a funny thing, you know. Um, I don't care. Carola Haraldsdottir, what search engine would you recommend? I Now I actually use DuckDuckGo. It has been criticized, so I am looking at alternatives. You could what I what I do. My method is that I use different search engines for different things. I am obviously using Google since I am a YouTuber, but I'm using different search engines for different things. Let's just put it that way. Um, yeah, John Bon Zombie is saying the people complaining about capitalism are the biggest consumers of it. That's a very good observation, and I absolutely agree. My definition of capitalism is, well, not my definition, but let me just say that if you're a homesteader, it's that's capitalism to me. It's perfect capitalism. Malta is off grid, and we have talked about this before. And there are taxes on everything in the UK. Um, Noel said, "Oh, I can't read that." Noel, I'm sorry. Um, Martina is from Luxembourg. Good to see you as always. Um, have you considered stream somewhere else? Well, yeah, I've considered it, but it's it doesn't really make much difference, you know. Um, okay, let me scroll down here. So Tunar says, thinking of starting to learn blacksmithing. That's awesome. You're in Ireland, but are there not people off grid in Ireland? I actually watched a TV show, um, where the wild men are, and there are some people in Ireland living off grid, I think. Um, yeah, you know what I did? Concerning everyone knowing where you are, what you're doing, you know, a smartphone, and I, I'll tell you what I did. And you're going to laugh because I agreed to, well, I bought a GPS with a, an emergency button, you know, and I didn't want to have one because I thought it's so embarrassing. What if I break a leg up in the hills and I'm all alone? The embarrassment would be horrible, you know. So, but then I thought, well, that's silly, you know. It is silly. But if I buy one of those and it's connected to, it's registered on me, it can be. I guess there is some way to track where I am because it is obviously tracking where I am. My other GPS is not registered on my name, and it's just a random GPS that is turned on in some random place now and then. But not so with the new GPS. So it has an SOS button, and it also has a satellite text messaging service. So I bought one of those. Added safety, you could say, um, because sometimes, well, oftentimes I have dogs with me, and yeah, there are reasons to have one. So obviously, I would not be. There would be a way to track me, right, with a device like that. I leave the phone, the dumb phone, not the wooden one that I made. That's my smartphone, but my dumb phone, leave it at home, and I have the GPS with the text messaging service on it. So there you have it, But still, I don't know this, but I believe that if if you have a device like that, you are much less. Um, they won't be able to track you anywhere as easily as if you're connected to the phone or the mobile, the network. Again, some people will say, "Oh, they will see you from the satellites and recognize you from the way you walk, or from the shape of your nose seen from space," or something like that. No, that's not true. But anyway, just saying that there is actually a way to get rid of the phone altogether uh, and still be, and people will still be able to reach you by text. You can't use this phone the GPS that I bought, to talk, but you can text, which is perfect because I don't. I would rather not talk on the phone. So Um, okay, so um, yeah, drones will find anyone anywhere. Actually, Colleen, it's then we're talking about a scenario where they fly a drone to find you. Why would they do that? I'm why? It's possible, of course, but why? Um, then wait. Uh, so let me scroll up a little bit. Verona, why is everyone talking? Everyone talked about the dangers of the five Jerrys, as I call it. But now that it's finally everywhere, it's not everywhere, but it's in many places it's up and running, and everyone stopped talking about it. I will say this, and I don't want to get too personal, but my 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 I've had a problem with migraines previously, but recently it's been every day, you know, and it's a different kind. It feels like my head is buzzing. So that is a main reason why I know that I have to get away from this, you know. And I was skeptical about this. And I also you can't say that, well, you just think it's like that. No, I didn't even know that they had switched it on. But it correlates with the increase in migraines, sadly. So you can look it up. You can look at proper research done on this, and it's not a big mystery. So that's one of the big tragedies of our generation, if you ask me. To the moderators, we're going to have to delete comments promoting uh, drugs. You know, so that you know. um, and also, please keep things respectful here. Um, please behave like adults, and yeah, okay. And I won't be as kind next time I see it. I'm not a liberal, and you know this. Garden prepping. As always, good to see you. Good to see you. Now, let's see her. Yeah, well, what I will say is this, and I always say this: put your emotions aside, find proper information, spend the time needed to read through proper information, and then make up your mind. And don't take my word for it, but do find proper information. Okay. Yes, going to close this live stream soon, but let's talk a little bit about the food supply. Now, there are several issues that seems to tie in together, and they will all create a shortage or a disturbance in the supply chains, rather. Now, everything from um, Ukrainian grain, not the Ukrainian not being able to export their grain. Now, Ukraine has been called the breadbasket of Europe. Everything from that to a diesel shortage. Um, and the diesel shortage is, as far as I know, maybe the biggest issue concerning the whole supply chain. What's going to happen is exactly, Woodlander, exactly as you say, uh, people won't be able to afford food soon because as there is less food available or less stuff, to buy, and people want the stuff. Lots of people want the stuff. All the people want the stuff, but there is less of it. Then they increase the prices. That has happened. That has started already, of course, and it's going to increase and increase and increase, which is unfair, you could say, and it's ironic that we have so many socialist governments now, or at least that's what they call themselves, and they are letting this happen because they didn't have to go through with this. um, and we're going to see a shortage, you know and I think Norway, where I live, is not going to we're going to be okay for much longer than most other countries, but it's going to be a bumpy ride, as I've said before. um, Now, not saying it's Ukraine alone. No, that's one of the things that is contributing to the shortage, but it's a major thing, at least in Europe, and it drives up the prices of grain, as far as I know. But I'm not an expert on this, you know, not an expert on this. Let's see here. Um, yeah, I think the comments are okay. A human, you're asking if our society is about to split. Well, I think not split, but I think we'll see so-called alternative societies. Um, and they will be a small minority. So it's not, I wouldn't say society is going to split, but we will have more people living outside of the grid. And we were actually having dinner with some friends last night, and we were talking about this. Um, and we're all looking at options. And I think it's much more common than people realize that at least a lot of people are looking at options. Um, Not the majority, but many more people than or you are looking at options or alternatives. I mean alternatives because they want to get out of this. They are asking that question: What's in it for me? You know, and a lot of us will probably have to live double lives in a way. Maybe you will just have your house there and you will have the same address, but you won't be there. you will be out in your lavo or something, out in the wilderness, maybe, you know. Um, hmm. um, okay. Oh, Joyce, that's very kind of you to say. That's very kind of you. Um, so, in the cities, the big cities, you will see the unrest first, obviously. So, on one hand, the supply chains they go directly to the cities. Not no, they don't go directly to the cities, but they are they get the most of the goods, right? But there are also much more demand in the cities, obviously. So they will probably have a food shortage before you see the food shortage out in the countryside, for instance. Now Norway is, much like Sweden. It's not really. We don't have big cities here, not on in an international. If you compare to on an international scale, we don't even have big cities here, and most of these countries are countryside. So it's evened out here. But anyway, yeah, that's interesting. Esma, is CERN, CERN, powered up? Yeah, I think they did. They closed it down, didn't they, because of the thing? It's back up running now. Yeah, I Mega Seeker. I was in LA and I've been to New York. New York, I that was a long time ago, but LA not so long ago, and it was horrible. What a horrible place. Um, um, let's see here. If I'm well traveled, I don't know. I've been to several parts of the world. I've never been to Africa or South America, though. So Chris is asking an important question. We should all ask ourselves that question. What are you doing when SHTF? Are you heading into the forest to live off the land? That would be difficult here, actually. And now for obvious reasons, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do if this or that happens. Depends on what happens, depends on how fast it happens, and so on. But I'm not going to go public with what I'm going to do, obviously. I see some preppers doing that, and I'm thinking to myself, well, why did you say that? I mean, strategically, isn't that a little bit unwise? But uh, I don't know. um, okay. Trolls are busy this morning, says North Shore Preparedness. Seems like you're doing a great job because I'm not seeing them. But we typically get just common trolls and haters, and we get the Bible thumpers here. Now, by that, I do not mean people who are Christian, of course not, but they are constantly writing Bible verses and condemnation and all that in the chat. So we want those gone, and we we do get the odd racist comment. We do get the odd someone hating on some group comment. Um, Leo says something that I really want to read here. When SHTF, you want to be on the water until it blows over, because they will come for you on land. It's a good point. And what I think, and here's a theory that I have, I think that a lot of prepper strategies are based on a culture that comes from inland North America, where you are pretty much landlocked. And in such a scenario, it's not an option to go out at sea. But if you live by the coast and you have a pretty good idea of what's going on, having a boat, ocean going sailboat, for instance, is probably wise, because it might be so that you want to get away by sea. They will close the borders. That's the first thing they do. And you might want to get away, and the only option will be by sea. So I live by the coast. Most Norwegians live by the coast. Most Scandinavians live by the coast. I mean, it's not rocket science. But at some point, what happens is that they will start preventing people from leaving by boat. And so you need to be knowing what's going on, and you can't wait too long, So, yeah, some will disagree. That's okay. That's okay. I think also you should have some experience with crossing oceans before you. In a crisis, it shouldn't be your first option. It shouldn't be the first time you do that. You know. Yeah, pirates, exactly. So that's why I'm saying you need to know. You need to get the timing right. You can't wait for too long. You need to get far enough away from the coast before things deteriorate and become lawless, or before they start patrolling the coast. Here, we have. Maybe you didn't know this. I'll give you some facts, and I bet you didn't know this. Now, when I talk about Russia, I get a lot of trolls. I do understand that those are partly bots and partly people hired to be on social media and do Russian propaganda, and partly people who have bought into that propaganda. Now, but anyway, we have Russian submarines patrolling Norwegian waters. Yeah, they do. And it's almost funny, because one thing they have done is we have communication by cable up to what's it called in English? Svalbard. That's what's Svalbard in English? Does anyone of the Norwegians here know? Spitsbergen, is that it? Well, the islands up in the North Sea, north of Norway. Okay, we share that with Russia, actually. Yeah, they were up there cutting cables, didn't they, with their submarines? destroying communication and oh, Svalbard the same in English. Okay, okay. And also, we suspect that they somehow connected onto the cables, and I don't know this, but this is the what we suspect. They somehow connect onto the cables by submarines and get information from those cables. I don't know if that's true. I'm not. I don't know the technical details there, but it's just Svalbard. Okay. Mm. So, um, leaving by boat, it's not like it's empty out there. And I've been out among the oil rigs. Um, they don't like so very much when you sail close to the oil rigs. They, I don't know. I one of the times there, one they got people into a boat and they came rushing towards me. Oh yes, Spitsbergen. Yes, I thought that was the word, but I will prefer to say Svalbard if I can. Um, yeah, they came rushing towards me. When I was out there, and I don't know. I don't know even which country owned that rig, that oil rig, where I was, because I was actually, and this is funny, I was I was out of I was outside of my map. That's always exciting. Rick Mountains, I made you a moderator, so if you want to, it's just if you want to, you can get rid of trolls and stuff like that. Um, yeah, and the thing about the submarines connecting to the cables and listening to the cables sounds like something from a Hollywood movie. So I don't know if that's true, but I kind of think it's true. But at least we know that they are disrespecting Norwegian territory by sea. Now, I made a video about this concerning NATO, and people need to understand the position here, where we come from here in Scandinavia. And I took that video down because I got so much hate. Um, but I took it down because I said that Sweden has a border to Russia. I don't know why I said that, but my head was, I was thinking sea, and but it's that's not true, of course. I don't know why I said that, but so I took the video down because it was so annoying. Uh, but we are human. I do sometimes I will say things that are um, I will make mistakes. You know, I do my best, but sometimes I make mistakes. Um, the story, Mountains of Elysium says the story about the cables is true from what I've read, but every side is doing it. Russia, the US, EU, etc. Yes, absolutely. Um, and this can be used and is being used to create a simplified version of the world, which is what you want if you want to have a image of big bad enemy, and they are the bad guys and we are the good guys, and a surprisingly and disappointingly large number of people, they are attracted to such a worldview. So, and I see it, lots of people are, and I don't know how many of these are bots and paid trolls from Russia and so on, but a surprising number of people believe that Putin is the good guy here. and and that's very disappointing. You know. But anyway, when I criticize what Russia is doing, it doesn't mean that I support what the EU is doing, what NATO is doing, but people subscribe to this idea that it's you're either for or against, and it's black and white, and so on and so on. That's not how the world works. And if you're an adult, you should know this. So, um, if we're talking Vercingetorix, if we're talking exactly, no good guys, if we're talking about big politics and big international power structures, they're not motivated by the goodness of their heart. They're just not. So, I'm just waiting for the trolls. It doesn't take long. And I don't know. Bear Singatoric says the only good guy is China's glorious leader. Peace be upon him. Oh, be upon him. Yeah. Yes. Glorious leader. uh, Seal77, thank you for the donation there. And you're saying that there are gray areas in everything. No such thing as just black and white. Um, okay. Yes, probably a combination of bots and troll factory workers, and also people who have bought into the propaganda. You know, and Mike says we shouldn't be so quick to assume things. Exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, lots of okay. Here they come. Here they come. People who are so damn sure about what's going on in the Ukraine. Yeah. Um, okay. I'm not going to get into that, and you know what? I don't know what's going on in the Ukraine, and neither do you. Unless you dare, unless you are, yeah, I won't go there. But we need to be a little bit humble about this, unless you're a proper expert, which most of us are not. So please, all the adults here should not make absolute statements about something as complicated as that, you know. So, okay, I'm going to leave you with that. And 1 hour 19 minutes, and there are 453 people in the chat. Um, and now it's like there must be people listening, or some kind of program picking up this, because whenever I get into that and I say those words, it doesn't take long, and we do get the same old talking points that are pro-Russian every time, every time. So, and it's never people I recognize. It's always someone with a nickname that I don't know, that I don't remember from previous live streams. So that's why I suspect that there are some bot activity, at least part of it. Okay, but also the battery on my laptop is running low, so I really have to leave you now. And thank you for joining. And as always, stay strong.